So obviously I have the first injury and I sit out 4 games and then I come back and I play really well.
Yeah.
And I feel really good. And like even this beginning of the year, like I played great. Like I started the year really good. Like I felt really great. Like my numbers were great. I was shooting the ball well. And then I get hurt and it's like, okay, like you gotta get healthy, whatever. You're like, I'm gonna do whatever I can, you know, to get back to what I was doing and whatever, feel good.
When the WNBA's brightest rising star sat across from Sue Bird and dropped a line that cut right through the league's carefully polished image, it wasn't just irritation we were hearing, it was a power shift happening in real time. Caitlin Clark didn't merely complain about questionable calls. She launched what may be the sharpest, most perfectly timed challenge to WNBA authority in years, and make no mistake, this wasn't accidental. Clark picked her timing, her platform, and even her wording with surgical precision, while most headlines immediately argued whether she was right or wrong. They overlooked the bigger story, why she said it, when she chose to, and what followed in its wake. This wasn't some spur-of-a-moment jab fueled by adrenaline. This was a move calculated by someone who had been observing quietly from the sidelines during her injury, tracking trends, spotting patterns, and waiting for the exact stage to unleash it. And the moment she did, the shockwaves were instant. Fans rallied, hashtags exploded, league officials scrambled. Suddenly, the debate wasn't just about officiating, it was about who really holds the power. But here's where it gets even riskier. For the league, the silence from WNBA leadership may have been the loudest response of all. No press release, no rebuttal, no explanation, just a vacuum. And in that silence, Caitlin Clark's voice became the defining one. Today, we're going to follow the trail, uncover the conversations behind the curtain, and reveal how one carefully chosen sentence could push the league toward changes that stretch far beyond basketball. And once you see the bigger picture, you'll never hear her words the same way again.
The hardest part has just been like the stop and go of everything. Like,
Yeah.
And also like with the type of injuries that I've dealt with, like there's no real, it's not like 6 weeks. All right, you're coming back for
Right.
the Connecticut Sun game on August
all about how you feel in the
30th or
moment.
whatever. It's like, how do you feel? Like, and even like when I have been back, like I don't know how I'm gonna feel the next day after playing, like when you're dealing with like these type of injuries. So I think just like the patience of dealing with all of that and giving myself a lot of grace.
To understand
and,
why Caitlin Clark's words landed
just trying
like
to be
a
the
lightning
best.
strike, you first have to look at the storm she walked into. The WNBA wasn't in calm waters. It was already caught in one of its biggest crises over officiating credibility. In years, almost every night, calls were being questioned. Within minutes of the final buzzer, clips of controversial fouls were flooding social media and the players. They weren't staying quiet anymore. Multiple stars had risked fines by openly criticizing referees. Coaches were being penalized for voicing the same frustrations that fans were screaming from the stands. Then came the commissioner's infamous remark, "No winning team complains about officiating," a tone-deaf statement that felt like pouring gasoline on an already raging fire. Fans saw it as dismissive. Players took it as an insult. The league had drawn a hard line, and on the other side stood a restless, irritated player base. Now picture Caitlin Clark stepping into that environment. Not just another rookie, but the phenom whose name was selling tickets, boosting TV ratings, and driving national headlines. The league's biggest marketing tool before she'd even completed her first season. While sidelined with injury, she had a front row seat to the chaos. She was watching every blown whistle, every inconsistency, every ounce of frustration pile onto her teammates, and she knew something crucial. The spotlight would always follow her, uniform or not, which meant that when she finally chose to speak, the entire basketball world would stop and listen. That's what made this moment so important. When the league's most valuable asset challenges officiating standards, it's no longer just an athlete's complaint, it's a statement from the one player they cannot afford to ignore. And the key here, timing. Clark didn't throw out her words in the middle of a post-game rant, heated and emotional. She waited, patiently, until the moment was perfect. That timing wasn't just about headlines, it was about pressure points inside the league itself. She was injured, not playing, which meant she had the clearest view in the house. From the bench, she could see what active players couldn't, who got calls, who didn't. And when whistles mysteriously disappeared, it's like the difference between playing chess blindfolded and playing with the full board in front of you. She had the vantage point, the time, and the discipline to study. And according to those close to the team, that's exactly what she did, rewinding plays, analyzing tape, and tracking positioning like a coach. So when she finally sat down across from Sue Bird, she wasn't venting from raw emotion. She was armed with a mental file of evidence. And then there's the platform. She didn't casually mention it in a locker room interview, or toss it out in a quick scrum where the story would fade. She chose Sue Bird's podcast, The Premiere, Stage 4 WNBA Player Voices. Why? Because Bird isn't just a Hall of Famer, she's respected by everyone: players, coaches, media, fans. Her platform carries weight. It travels far beyond basketball. Entertainment media picks it up. Social justice spaces pick it up. In short, it's not where words go to die. It's where they're amplified. By going there, Clark ensured two things. The WNBA community would hear her clearly, and her critique would carry the credibility of a legend standing beside her. If you're going to deliver a message to league leadership, that's the podium you want. So here's the strategy. The league at its weakest moment, a player with the largest audience and clearest perspective, and a platform built to turn words into cultural headlines. That isn't luck, that's precision. When she finally leaned in and dropped those 6 words calm, direct, almost playful, she knew exactly how far they'd travel and exactly how hard they'd hit. It happened in the middle of an ordinary buckle. Sue Bird was talking, the cameras were rolling, and Caitlin Clark leaned in with the 6 words that would follow her for the rest of the season. I wouldn't miss a call. 6 words. Calm, direct. Delivered almost like a joke. But don't mistake the tone. Those 6 words hit harder than a 30-point playoff performance. You could see it instantly on Bird's face, the quick grin, the subtle head tilt like she recognized. In real time, what had just happened? This wasn't a vague complaint. It wasn't random banter. It was a direct, public shot at the league's officiating integrity. And coming from the WNBA's most marketable star, it wasn't just criticism, it was a challenge. The reaction was instant. Within minutes of the clip hitting social media, fans clipped it, captioned it, and sent it ricocheting across every platform. The hashtag Clark was right didn't just trend locally, it blew up nationally. Fans began tagging her in videos of missed fouls from other games, almost deputizing her as the league's unofficial quality control officer. Behind the curtain, the reaction was just as explosive. Some league executives wanted to deal with it quietly, maybe pull her aside, remind her that certain criticisms aren't supposed to leave the locker room. Others warned that silencing her would be a disaster. You don't muzzle the player filling arenas everywhere she goes. Then came the referees union. Whispers spread that some officials took her words as a personal insult, a blow to their professionalism. Others, though, quietly admitted the truth: she wasn't wrong. And the official league response? Nothing. Absolute silence. No press release. No defense, no spin, just a vacuum. But silence tells its own story. When your most valuable player takes aim at you on the record and you say nothing, people draw their own conclusions. Either you're scrambling behind closed doors, or you're too afraid to fight back in public. That's why Caitlin Clark's 6-word line carried so much weight. Because in the absence of any pushback, her version of the story became the story. To really understand the weight of Caitlin Clark's challenge, you have to move away from the podcast chair and step into the league's inner circles. Publicly, the WNBA stayed silent. But behind closed doors, the first 48 hours were anything but quiet. Insiders described the atmosphere as divided. One camp of executives wanted to act quickly, pull Clark aside, remind her that questioning officiating crosses a line. The other camp saw the danger. Silencing the league's biggest attraction could turn her into a martyr in the eyes of both fans and players, and in the social media era, martyrdom can snowball into a full-on movement overnight. The referees union added another layer of tension. Some officials felt her comment was a direct attack on their credibility. Yet even within their own ranks, a few admitted she wasn't speaking out of nowhere. Early season data already showed inconsistency in foul calls, patterns analysts and coaches had been whispering about for months. That left league leadership in an impossible bind. Publicly defending the referees risked alienating Clark and the millions who support her. Publicly siding with Clark risked undercutting officiating authority for the rest of the season. So the safe choice was to stay quiet. But silence doesn't erase a story, it amplifies it. Each day the league said nothing. Clark's comment grew louder. Sports shows debated it. Fans clipped questionable whistles and paired them with her quote. The conversation expanded from one player's opinion into a league-wide reckoning. Does the WNBA protect its stars? And can its officiating keep up with its rapid growth? Inside the league offices, the question shifted from how should we respond to can we afford not to change? And then came the real test the moment Clark returned from injury. Her comeback wasn't just about basketball. It was a live experiment. Every fan, every camera, and every referee in the building knew exactly what she had said. Which meant her first game back wasn't just a return, it was a trial. From tip-off, you could feel it. Every drive, every bump, every no-call sparked an immediate reaction from the crowd. The first time she absorbed contact without a whistle, the arena erupted not just in frustration, but in anticipation. Fans waited for her reaction. And when she gave that same knowing smirk she wore with Sue Bird, the crowd roared as if they were part of an inside joke. What the public didn't fully see was how this shifted control. Before, referees dictated the rhythm of the game. Now, every whistle involving Clark was under a magnifying glass. Dissected on Twitter, broken down on forums, debated on national talk shows. The league had never seen one player whose treatment by officials was tracked this closely by the entire basketball world. And Clark, she knew exactly what she had done. Her earlier comments about constant full-court pressure weren't just about defense, they were a subtle signal that she saw the bigger picture. This wasn't just a critique of officiating, it was a recalibration of power.